Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to the pre-Zoom on 7 Steps to Flawless Communication with Kids. My name is Kass Thomas, and I started this program, 7 Steps to Flawless Communication, about 4 or 5 years ago. I wrote a little book called 7 Steps to Flawless Communication, or the book actually wrote me. And these, yeah, there it is. You can't really see it with the background. And, I've worked a lot in communication all of my life, studied communication and everything. And the book is so small and so simple. And it's an invitation for people to see how simple communication can be. And this is a time in the entire world where there's a lot of change going on. It's a different world. And even if, a couple of people were saying, well, in my country, it wasn't really that big of a deal, but we are all connected with the entire world. So how much of, especially with kids, how much are they picking up on all of the change that is going on and all of the anticipation of the future and what's going on with their parents, what their parents might be concerned about, what's going on with their teachers, with their neighbors. And so we thought of doing this Zoom with the 7 Steps teachers. This is a lot of 7-step teachers around the world and instructors, and they are teachers, they're moms, they're doctors, they're engineers. They have their professions and they're interested in inviting people to more ease with communication, more genuine communication, more authentic communication. And I'm so delighted with that because it's something that I have always been inspired to invite people to. And so I'm really grateful to have them on. They should have some of them have their name and the 7 Steps teachers after their names, and in different languages, whether it's Italian and Spanish and Portuguese, in Russian, in Turkish, in Japanese, and a lot of other different languages as well. So if it's something that is interesting to you and you're interested in maybe engaging with someone to invite more ease in your world with communication and more ease in your world with communicating with children, then please don't hesitate to contact them. And we have an intro coming up next week where I'm going to be inviting some of these teachers to share their experiences with the 7 Steps. It's a really quite an easy approach to connecting. I don't know if you acknowledge yourself ever for having chosen to be a teacher of kids, or to be a parent of kids, or to be kind to other people's kids, help kids with their speech, help kids adjust to some of the really interesting reactions that adults have toward them. I actually did a little video, perhaps I can share that with you. A video with a little girl today who's just right outside of my house. It's only a 1-2 minute video. And sometimes we think we have all the answers. But what if we were to ask the kids? Hello, this is Kass Thomas, and I'd like to invite you to explore how to communicate with children in a more winning way, so that children are honored, because children's lives matter and they are the creation of our future. And a lot of times we think to have the answer, but what if we were to ask the children? What would that actually create? Listen to this lovely girl who talks about how can we do communication with children in a different way. To be more kind with children, you have to be calm. You have to be happy and don't get mad. And this way, kids can be happy. and they can do good things. For example, if a teacher is working with children, she could do this. And then I asked her, how can we invite kids to be happy with themselves? To indicate to children, who has children, should raise their hands. And then someone else has a question or has something to say, they can raise their hands. And what does it mean to raise your hand? Well, it means that you can know who is the one who has the right to be speaking next. So when the child is finished speaking, or even the adult, they can lower their hands. And then the next one raises their hands. So simple. So my question is, what simplicity? What ease? How easy can communication be if we're willing actually to connect with the kids? Join me for the 7 steps to flawless communication with kids. Free Zoom on June 3rd and an intro with 7 steps teachers from around the world on June 10th. And you can also have the replay on that. And what invitation can we be to a future that is really a contribution to everyone? Because you know what? Kids matter, and so do we. Hope you'll join me. Yeah, cute, right? So one of the things that's showing up a lot for kids is that they're not being heard. You know, they're not being listened to. And we are pretending to engage with them and not always engaging with them because we're really busy. There's a lot going on for us as well. And so with all of the change and confusion and chaos going on, and laws are changing around the world, we are sometimes in a very defensive posture. And this particular little girl, she's my neighbor. And when she was born, she would look at me and stare at me until I became really present with myself, lowered my barriers, and she could pick that up as a baby. And then she would smile at me and look away. You know, her parents are a bit worried that she has not clear speech, that she doesn't think in the same way other kids have. She might have some autism going on, but her amazing genius has always been apparent for me. So one of the things that I'd like to invite you to, and this is one of the 7 steps, it's step 3, is anytime you're engaging with anyone, encountering anyone, teaching children, working with children, trying to see what is the doorway to reach them so that you can facilitate them. Please remember first to connect with you, right? And a lot of us are like, okay, what does that mean? Well, this step 3 is about lowering your barriers, you know, even your expectations of what the child should do. If you're a teacher, sometimes you have to get things done in a certain session during the day at a school. The kid is supposed to deliver something. But if it is so much easier when you are willing to not have an expectation of them and be willing to receive whatever it is that they in that moment can communicate. One of the 7 Steps gals, Dr. Morris, who was a teacher of children with challenges, says whatever way the child is able to communicate. If the kid likes football, if the kid then talk to them about mathematics by how many people are on the football team. And if you were to take half of those, how many would it be? You know, what way can reach with kids by really not having any fixed point of view about how to reach them, but also engaging with them. So I would love to play a minute now, even about whatever expectations you have about this Zoom together, or about communication in general, or about your life and your job. And I've got to get to work, and so I have to teach. Or, I had the worst teachers in the world, so I want to be a good teacher. Or I had the best teachers in the world, and I want to be a good teacher. What if you didn't have a point of view about that? What if you were really willing to acknowledge that the mere fact that you are helping the future by being a contribution to kids was a greatness and a gift to the world? Because these kids will be the ones doing the social media, doing politics, teaching others. And if they've been nurtured and they've been allowed really to show their greatness because you're showing yours and you're inviting theirs, then this world will be a completely different place. So I like to play with this barriers down thing. And I'd like to invite you to as well. So anything that you feel is charging you or discharging you, offending you, or that you have to defend against, what if you were able to just lower those barriers, right? Just take your hands, put them above your head, your palms facing the floor. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, invite those defenses, those barriers, those judgments, those doubts, those points of view, those resistances, and keep breathing just to come on down. Don't demand it of them because obviously they have protected you and they've got you to where you are now. But when we're talking about flawless communication, it doesn't have to be perfect in someone else's point of view. If it's you, authentically you, then it already is perfect. So just bring those barriers down. I will take off this so that you can see that. Choose none. Bring those barriers down and breathe out. And this is something I learned from that little girl I just shared with you in the video. That kids can perceive that. Kids pick up on it, even if we're pretending to be quite, friendly and present with them. They get the energy of it. Communication is not just about words. It's also about expressions. So smile and be happy, right? Like my little friend said. But also invite a more peaceful energy, because that, when you're communicating, is very important. We carry a lot of rigidity in our bodies, that has a vibration that kids pick up on, especially kids with what we call special needs, because they don't communicate in the same way with words as we do. They don't have that right brain, left brain thing going on that we have, but they pick up on what our vibe is, how we are communicating with them. So I would advise you, I would suggest to you, I would invite you to, anytime before you're dealing with kids or while you're dealing with kids, to just pull down your barriers, pull down your resistance. And this is a very easy way to do it. Talk about it in the book, and we go into expressing it a bit more in depth in the intro and one-day prelude classes, which teachers around the world are doing. So you can do it directly in your language if you would like. And something about being comfortable in our own skin. And that's an invitation that the 7 steps are.
Cass, we lost you. You're cutting off. We can't hear you, Cass.
Answer. A lot of times,
Cass, you're cut off completely. Okay, I think let's see if Cass is on. I think she's
yeah.
been cut off.
Yes, I am here. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah. So you guys, that was great. You must have really actually done that because you totally changed the energy. That's awesome. Yeah. So with the 7 steps, thank you for being so amazing and so quick at that. And so, what kinds of things can we do to engage kids more and to make them feel more comfortable in their own skin? You know, what kinds of invitation can we be not only them to feel comfortable, but to express themselves in a different way? You know, the first step is the first phase of the 7 steps is about connecting with yourself. You know, a lot of times kids are feeling wrong either because of the way they speak, the way they're talking, or because they're picking up on you feeling wrong about yourself. So, what is the example that we can be for kids? And communication always starts with us. Everything that we are able to communicate starts with us. So if you get connected and recognize, as I invited you to, and acknowledge that you are really great, that you even care about communicating with others, you know? And it's not just about you getting your point across to people, it's also about you getting what they want to say, getting what their perspective is. And every encounter that we have, especially with children, if we're willing, teaches us something about ourselves. So even connecting with that childlike wonder inside of ourselves, right? So that we can really mirror to them that there are no answers in this world. There are only certain ways people do things. Some kids might not do it in the same way. And what if we were just to be clear with them? Look, this is the way it works in this world. This is the way it works in this school. This is the way it works in this house. It doesn't mean you're wrong, you know? And I'm absolutely willing to hear how you feel about it and what you think about it. Because the rules and the regulations have all been reset, especially after this corona period, but also with the world on this planet. What is it that we can invite as a different future? As a future that includes everyone. Kids matter because they'll be the ones bringing this world into a future. So I would like to thank everyone that is here and thank you also for being willing to explore something different with children and inviting kids to pull their barriers down. Because sometimes if we're teachers, right, we're dealing with kids and then they may be really comfortable with us, but then they go home or they go into schools or they begin to go back into schools now in a very different atmosphere. So showing them how to handle that and how to recognize that, and eventually how they too, like we're inviting you to do, like how they too can invite their fellow students or even their parents, right, to have a more kindness and a more simplicity and a more authenticity in their communication. You know, I would like to invite, three of the ladies and teachers that have been working with me to develop this 7 steps to flawless communication with kids program, just from different perspectives, to give us a little bit of what they know about how the 7 steps approach can be a contribution. We have a beautiful young doctor from India, Dr. Sasha, who's on the line. And she's been playing with the 7 steps for quite a while, and with medicine, traditional medicine, and with different healing methods as well. Sasha, what do you know? Yeah. So as yeah, you're unmuted. Yeah.
Hi. What do I know? Oh man. Um, when this topic came out, when we started working together and we were talking about the 7 steps, and I love the 7 steps. I think it's just ingenious what you've created, and I have my methods of communication with people have changed so dynamically, especially my methods of communication with kids, which was always easier than communicating with adults. I mean, come on, kids are simple, they're fun, they're joyful, and um, and I look at these adults, and then I look at the way they treat their kids, or the school teachers, the way they treat their kids, the doctors, the way they treat their patients, and counselors and therapists. We all may have like the best intent at heart, but we're not really like, there's always like this perceived gap between a child and an adult because of this preconceived notion that they're children and they need to be protected, and we're adults and we're the protectors. I mean, think about when you were a kid and how you would have liked to be treated by your adults, and what questions would you have liked to be asked as a child. And now think about that kid in front of you, and how would you communicate with them that, because you have the ability and the capacity of influencing and shaping who they be and their future, and you play a vital role in bringing out their magic and allowing them to contribute to you. I mean, I was having some stuff go on with my body, and I went and I played with a 7-year-old in my building. And I'm not joking, within half an hour, my body changed by the willingness to just play with this kid and receive from this kid, which was brilliant. So, like, where have we decided that kids are like these, really innocent souls, where we can't actually, yes, they are innocent. They're innocent because they don't judge. They're innocent because they're playful. They're innocent because they see life with a sense of joy and with a sense of possibility. And they haven't given that up yet. And I mean, there are kids who I see who come from broken families, or, really hardship in an earlier age, in an earlier life, where they do seem to dim down that magic within them. And when you start to acknowledge the magic of kids the way they be, and recognize that that isn't something that needs to be shut down, but rather amplified, I wonder what then can we be and do for their future? Because imagine if that was done to you, how different would you be today? And the stuff that you've been dealing with, would it have been different? So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so many of us takes so long to get back to ourselves. We may be doing yoga or meditation or different things to do that. What if the kids didn't have to, right? And that's the invitation with to be. What if we encourage them to know that their communication is flawless, and their authentic selves are a contribution, because there's no there's no energy that doesn't exist on this planet, right? So how I love that you connecting with the kids got you connected with yourself. And really, when people start disconnecting from who they are and what they know, wars break out. You know, illness breaks out. The World Health Organization says 80% of what shows up as physical illness starts from the mind. So health for children, their mind, their body, and their spirit, their being. So what if we were the invitation for them never to disconnect from that? And you know what? It's a tricky way, these 7 steps. It's a tricky way to get you connected with you. Because if that is your target to for with the children that you work with that you're in your home, that you play with, then you're also working on that for yourself. And that is a contribution because you are very important to the world, especially if you recognize that the kids are our future. Yeah. And Christine or Ari, we have one. Just speaking from Arindita is a project management for years with companies, and I know her son, and he's amazing. And even if we're super busy, and I know that sometimes we are, you know, and if we've got many things to deal with, when we're around the kids, allow them to be that contribution to you by pulling down your barriers, and also allow yourself to be present with them because they know and they can feel it, and that changes them. Yeah. Ari, do you want to tell us something
Yeah.
about that?
Wow. Now that you just said that, I kind of like just went into this moment, and I remember so clearly because I wanted to share something else, but this has totally come out. I remember like when Pablo, now he's 17, when he was about 7 years old, on Fridays I would go pick him up. I travel a lot and around the world, and but Fridays I was always home, and I picked him up from school, and then we went to lunch, and it was our day. And I remember like I was telling him, oh, I had a really hard week, and there's this thing at work that I need to find a solution to. And so my phone starts ringing, and I'm talking to him, and it's ringing, it's ringing, it's ringing. And he's like, Mom, you had a problem, you need to pick up the phone. And I said, no, because right now I'm here with you, you know, and I'm here present with you, and and I want to, this time is for you. And his face just like completely lit up, like just, he grew 3 inches, you know. And he was like, wow, this time is for me. And
Yeah.
then
And that,
if I go like, and if I go and a couple years after, like again with, I have a high stress job because there's so many things involved. But I'd get home and I'd be like, oh, maybe I had a bad day at work, and I'm like, "Arr," and I get home and he's like, okay, Mom, it's time for me. And just letting him know, it's like, you know what, I need 10 minutes to wind down, to just get home, like me, my body and everything, and I will be able to be with you. Because if not, I'm not gonna, I didn't tell him this, but it was just like, I knew that if I didn't have those 5-10 minutes to wind down, I was gonna be in body present with him, but my mind was gonna be in so many other things.
and how often is that actually the case? That we feel like it's an obligation, what we have to do. But how much, if kids see that vulnerability in you, um, and and when you're willing to express that vulnerability, listen, I need 10 minutes. It's been a really stressful time. And without it being a, um, a blocking them out, right? They acknowledge that, Oh, that's what I get sometimes too. Sometimes I need those 10 minutes. I wonder if I could ask mom for a moment before she's trying to engage with me. And B, it opens up their hearts, right? And they are able to express the kindness for you. I love
And
that.
just to share one last thing with you, like
Please.
I've always done like a lot of like looking for tools to find ways to improve, to create more in my life. And I remember, and a lot of those have been during the weekend. So if I travel and then on a weekend I'm going to a seminar or a class or something, uh, uh, I remember one day, like my husband, we were like having dinner, and he was like, "You're really being really selfish because you're not home, and then you go to these courses." And all three of us were having dinner, and I said, "No, wait. I want you to realize something. Am I being selfish, or at the same time that I'm gifting myself this class, I'm gifting the family something? Because if I take care of myself, I will be able to take care of you. I will be
Absolutely.
able to communicate with you in a different way. I might have other tools that are going to allow me to give different things, to give maybe things that I didn't know I had, to make them available to you, you know? And so and this has been throughout like my son's life. It's like how because sometimes he says, "Mom, but you guys give me so much." And and you know, it's like, "Are you sacrificing?" And I go, "When have you seen me not have something that I want to give you something?"
And this is the example I use all the time. If you were giving someone water from your cup that is half full, it might be stale water, but B, if it finishes the cup, then you have no more to give. So please fill yourself up. And the first phase is about connecting with you, nourishing you, and recognizing you and what it is that you require in order to be able to connect with other people, you know, and what invitation can we be for the kids to do that? And recognizing some people are like, I don't want to do all that about myself. Okay. You can also just recognize when you're not connected with you, and recognizing that, take your 5 minutes, take your 3 minutes, go into, I always tell people, go into the bathroom, breathe deeply, look yourself in the eye, pull down your barriers, right? And pull down your defense, and then reapproach uh, your communication with others in a very different way. Yeah. And Christine is living in Greece and has been working with kids and fellow teachers on all different types of levels, and is amazing, and also translated the 7steps book into Greek. She's actually now translating, but just from the perspective, where is she? If she would like to, yeah, there she is. Cool. Yeah. Also, give us just, you know, a little bit of also what you know is really vital with working with the energy of kids and not working against the energy of kids, you know?
This is Toshi, you know. Yes, sorry, I was just translating at the same time. Kass, thank you very much. I'm really enjoying, and I think the energy is so amazing. I don't know how the people are feeling, but I just have this, you know, really calm and fulfilling energy. Starting with something that Eri said, that was talking about being present. I've been teaching for many years, more than 30 years now. And through your book, my teaching has changed, and I may cry, but that's okay. A lot, and thank you for that. I've always loved teaching. This is, I think teachers are there because we like being with kids, and we love the energy that the kids have given us. Now, one of the things I used to do was not being present with myself. So I was there with the kids, but I was not, my body and my mind and my heart was there, but it was not a flow of energy. So with the bringing down the barriers, and this is something we actually do in class now, When we get into class, we sit down, we take 3 breaths, deep breaths, and we just pull our barriers down, everybody in class, and the whole atmosphere just changes. So there is then a flow going and coming back, going and coming back. And just this has changed how the kids communicate, how we open the door to go in. Because sometimes as teachers, we really need to get some work done as well. Of course, it has to be fun, but you know, you have some dates, you've got exams, you've got kids that you need to make them write, facilitate them in writing. So when you have the door, that you have opened the door and you're using the energy of the kids for you and your energy for them, everything just changes. So I'm gonna be quiet, so I need to translate that. Thank you. Just a big thanks to everybody on the team. I really appreciate it and gratitude.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. She's going to be translating that. And the just speaking a bit about those barriers down. The step 1 is about show me the magic. And this is something that you're asking of yourself. What is my perspective? From which angle am I seeing me? And from which angle am I seeing this kid? You know? And from which angle am I seeing other people? And I often say that it may seem like you are judging yourself, or it may seem even that you're in resistance to a kid. But if you ask that first question, and we'll talk more about this in the intro, you're acknowledging that there's you know there's something more there. There's something more behind that. Let me see if Christine is done. You're good. She's good. She's drinking. And a lot of our communication is with our body. It's about sensitizing you so that your communication, what you are not only transmitting to other people, but what you're receiving from other people, is not only what they're saying with words, what they're thinking, but how they are either locked in, you know, and this is not, you know, quarantine locked in. Sometimes they're locked in the house, but sometimes they're locked up in their bodies as well. They may have experienced abuse, whether it's physical, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. And when you're willing to really see them from a different angle, and this is what the 7 steps invites you to, then your approach to communicating with them is quite different. That recognizing when you're not completely focused, like Arundhati had said, when she came in from work. So many people feel the obligation as soon as they walk in a classroom, right? If you would like to use these steps to get everyone, as Christine said, with their barriers down, the communication goes so much easier. And we pretend. Step 4 is about unmasking yourself, going beyond the mask. It's called go beyond the veil. But we pretend to be perfection. I know I've been teaching for years, and I thought when I started teaching, I had to be perfect. How can you teach someone when you're not perfect, right? So I had to be perfect. And I am perfect. I'm perfectly me, right? And you're perfect too. Everyone is perfect, perfectly them, right? And so are the children. So in recognizing that when we're trying to pretend to be someone else or trying to be a role, right, then we're not actually being our unique brand of magic, and we're not inviting the kids to see, wow, she's different, he's different, and so am I. Yeah, and so that matters. And that allows you to reconnect with people in a very different way. That allows you to see things also from different perspectives. And it allows the kids to feel appreciated and to be acknowledged. And so the third phase, the first phase is about connecting to you. The second phase is about recognizing when you're not connected and not buying that as who you are or who you have to be, right? I have to be the best teacher. I have to do this. so that you can reconnect the third phase from a very different way. And this step 5 is about engaging with them. How do you engage with them? Step 6 is about expanding your zone of awareness and how you can, just like Dr. Morris said, and if she has 2 minutes, I'll have her talk about that. If kids are not able to speak, what is their form of communication? Because we all have forms of communication. And when you are reconnecting with people and willing to acknowledge their difference, it will delight your life, and you cannot get it wrong, you know. And this allows us to recognize something that we all have in common, that we all have as our base, which is this planet, which is this world. So regardless of the language, regardless of the speech capacities, regardless of the colors, regardless of the limbs that people may have or may not have, regardless of how they are showing up in the world, they're still showing up in the world. So the invitation for them to recognize that no matter what is going on with them, you are receiving them and appreciating them. And this will change our world for sure. Dr. Morris, is she frozen? Oh, there she is. Yes. And the thing, I'm so grateful for her, because she's been working with kids so much. And she said the thing, and I've taken lots of different, modalities and things. And the thing that I like about this 7 steps is the simplicity and the kindness of it. That it. Go ahead. Yeah. What can you share with people about your awareness? Hi.
Hi. And I'm working nearly 4 and 5 years the children, and then with special children also. But I always think in the children is not separate to us. They know what they want, but you need to connect for them. If you want to teach to them, you have to what they are interested in. If you find what they are interested in, you can find to teach to them. Some people like football. Some people children is the tablet, the play. But as you can find a way, engage to them. Important thing need to be calm for children, smooth, and care. You need to show them how care them, because they are all our children. If you not forget, you are children also too. You need the same level to them and explain to them. And some children different learning than other, but end of the day they learning, and then they show in the achieving, because doesn't matter somebody is going to A, B, C, D, but it's important that they learning. A takes the time, but they learning. Important that they special children need to be engaged in this reality. They need to go outside. They need the freedom. We need to teach them like that to children. I use it normally when I work in the children is the 7 steps. I always use in the barrier, and then also I will teach in my students. Is lots of time the works for children, because we are engaging each other. And also we are sometimes playing the mask on for children. I will put on the very sad mask and happy mask, and then I will connect to them. I will ask them, how how are you? And I put on, I am very sad, I put on my mask. And then they put on the mask, I am very happy. And then I can connect them easily, and then they feel safe, and I'm carrying them.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up, because we're coming toward the end here. And one of the things that we would like to invite you to, and we'll talk about more, is show this step 4 is going beyond the veil and the mask. That sometimes the kids love to play, and actually we do too. But some things we take so seriously that we wouldn't dare play with them. And teaching might be one of those. Being a good parent might be another one of those. However, if you're really interested in communication, then sometimes wearing a mask so that you can make someone comfortable, so that they're willing to engage with you, and then slowly taking away that mask is something that we'd love to show you how to show children, because they may be quite vulnerable and comfortable with you. But when they're meeting someone else and that vulnerability gets abused, then they lock down. And that makes your work lots of effort with no results. So how do you obtain results and move forward with children, a continuity of contact? And that's what we'd like to really share with you and invite with you, not just to teach you something, but so that together we can actually create a more sustainable world and union with the greatness of that this planet is asking for. And this is showing up now. It's speaking a lot to us, and it's being called for. And I'm really grateful for all of you for joining. And if you'd like more information, you can find that out. We will be posting the links for you in the chat on the various language Zooms. And also, if you'd like to just start by checking out the 7 Steps book, it's only in 20 languages now. However, the main language is you and energy. And so there's also the possibility that even beyond words, beyond the written text, you'll be able to get something. There in the book, you have some homework sections, which are just ways for you to begin playing with it. The 7 Steps teachers are doing book readings. I'm a 7 Steps teacher too, and so are other people. Book readings to have a bit of fun with that. So really would love to invite you to check it out. I'd love to ask Miss Isabel. Do you have any questions, Miss Isabel from New York? Just looking at that. And this is a period where we are reconnecting with so many things from our past and people from our past, and really how to acknowledge that everything is in some way a contribution, even if it doesn't immediately seem like that. Yes. Are you off mute? People move around. Yes. Hi there. And then,
okay, great.
yes.
Thank you so much,
And
Kass.
she is a therapist and also Miss Isa, and amazing.
Also a mom.
Also a mom.
Also a mom. It's beautiful. I love so far the bringing your barriers down and really connecting with yourself, because that's pretty much the center of the universe. And I forget to do that myself. It's so easy to forget to, tune into yourself before you step into communication with anybody. Even with myself in the morning, we all get up and we wake up and we have all these thoughts going on sometimes, especially at a time like this, not only during coronavirus, but you know, everything that's happening. I'm in New York, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up and then forget to have that relationship with yourself. So I really appreciate that reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And that's the, you know, the thing, the magic of this steps. They're easy, and you will know we take steps one by one by one. First step, second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, sixth step. By the time you get to the fifth and sixth step, you're already you're already ready. That sort of rhymes. You're already ready. You're already ready to fly. Yeah. And to really step into your life, step up and acknowledge the contribution you are, and step out and share that with the world. Step in, step up, and step out. And that's what the invitation is. And whenever something is not going smoothly for you, whichever step is going to be the door opener is what pops for you. So initially, we do go through them one by one and explain them in different ways, and then you utilize them, whichever is going to work for you. Some people do the various.
There's a comment from Marcial that I
Ciao,
wanted to read
Mori.
to you. It says, I tend to think about children being sensitive, but I learned that they are very perceptive and may not have the facility of language, which may be the barrier to their communicating to us about how they feel.
Absolutely. And the kids communicate in a lot of different ways. I remember this joke about the family really worried about their son because he wasn't speaking and he hadn't spoken, and they brought him to speech therapists, and they're sitting at the table one day at lunch, and the son says, "Can you pass me the salt, please?" And they were just all so shocked. What are you talking? What did you say? What you talking? What? And you've never talked before. And he said, I never had anything to say, you know? So we all communicate in a different way. And what if we're not demanding that it look the same, you know? And this is a kind and gentle invitation for you to not only acknowledge your unique way of communicating, but also once you recognize that you have a unique way, and you may have been judging that, and we talk about that, then you're also looking for, curious, that childlike wonder, curious about, I wonder what their unique way is of communicating. Yeah. And this absolutely changes the way we function in the world, the way we function in all areas of our lives. But here we're talking about kids, but there's also in business with our bodies and our health, with animals. There's a veterinarian who is a 7steps teacher in Brazil. There's all kinds of things that this is just like a platform, a base from which you can explore tons of things. So if you have any questions, you can certainly just write me at Kass@kassthomas.com or info@kassthomas.com. And you can find the teachers on the kassthomas.com website under the 7 steps, and see who is it that will be the invitation for you to explore more about you and your magic. And I hope you'll join us on June 10th. We have probably the link to that in the chat for the June 10th intro to 7 steps with kids. And I'd like to just thank all the amazing translators on the line who are dear to my heart, and that's how I choose them. So big heart to all of you, and I hope to see you on the 10th. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to write to me. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How about that?